The monitor came to life with a faint hum, casting a pale light across the room. I expected the usual desktop, cluttered with folders and half-finished documents, but instead, a black window appeared, sharp white text blinking at the top. Time left until your death, 7 days, 3 hours. For a moment, I froze. The seconds were already ticking down. Each number that shifted felt heavier than the last. I leaned closer, almost certain it was some kind of glitch. My hands hovered above the keyboard before I pressed a key. Nothing. The mouse didn't respond either. I tapped harder, frustration masking my unease. The numbers never stopped moving. Unplugging the machine seemed like the only option. I pulled the cord, let the screen go dark, and stood there, heart pounding. But when I plugged it back in, the same window returned, still counting, seamless, as if it had been waiting for me. The room felt suddenly smaller. The faint smell of burnt dust from the power outlet mixed with the cold air creeping in through a cracked window. My own reflection on the screen looked strange, pale, and unsettled. I whispered, almost against my will, "What is this?" My voice didn't sound like mine. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through contacts until I landed on one name, Lena. My best friend, the one person who would listen without judgment. The line clicked after 3 rings. "Osia? Do you know what time it is?" Her voice was thick with sleep. "There's something on my computer," I said quickly. She sighed. "A virus. It's a countdown. It says, 7 days, 3 hours. Until my death." The silence on her end was longer than I wanted. Finally she spoke, sharper this time. "Osia, that's not normal. Did you download something? Open an email?" "No. I didn't touch anything." Her tone shifted again, cautious now. "Then someone put it there. Someone who knows you well enough to get into your computer." The words settled in my chest like lead. I looked back at the screen. The numbers continued their quiet descent. Midnight pressed on outside. A dog barked in the distance. The ticking seconds filled the silence between me and Lena, more real than anything I'd ever seen. I whispered, not sure if I was asking her or myself. Who would do this to me, and why now? The next morning, I woke with the weight of the countdown still pressing on my mind. My first thought was that maybe it had all been a dream, a trick my half-asleep brain had played on me. But when I walked into the living room and saw the computer's glow from across the apartment, I knew it hadn't gone away. The screen still displayed the numbers, now at 6 days, 14 hours. I forced myself to sit down, staring at the text as if it might reveal its origin. Someone had to be behind this. The possibilities lined up in my head: my ex, Murat, who still sent me bitter messages months after our breakup, a colleague from the office who resented me after I exposed his mistake during a meeting, or my brother, Emre, who hadn't spoken to me in years except for the occasional cruel comment online. I opened the task manager, checked processes, nothing unusual. No open applications. The program was buried deep, invisible. Whoever had written it knew what they were doing. Lena called me back that morning, her voice more awake but no less worried. "Did it stop?" she asked. "No. It's still there." She hesitated. "Then it's not random. Osia, maybe it's not about death. Maybe it's a threat." Her words made sense, but they didn't calm me. If it was a threat, someone had planned it, targeted me. The countdown wasn't meant to scare just anyone. It was meant to scare me. By noon, I tried the police. I brought photos on my phone, screenshots of the countdown. The officer glanced at them, unimpressed. "Could be malware. People prank each other all the time," he said, sliding my phone back across the desk. "But what if it's not?" I pressed. He shrugged. "Unless there's a direct threat or evidence of harassment, there's nothing we can do." Walking out of the station, my chest tightened. If the police wouldn't help, and Lena could only guess, then I was on my own. That night, I noticed something new. Alongside the countdown, another line of text appeared for the first time. I leaned closer, my pulse quickening. "Check your documents folder." I froze. My hand hovered above the mouse. Whoever was behind this wasn't just threatening me from a distance. They had access to everything on my computer, maybe more. I whispered into the silence of my apartment. What will I find waiting for me inside that folder? The cursor hovered over the folder for what felt like an eternity. My hand trembled slightly as I double-clicked. At first, nothing appeared. Then, one by one, files began to load, dozens of them. Each had my name in the title. I clicked the first file. A photo opened on the screen. It was me, standing in my kitchen, wearing the same clothes I had on 2 nights ago. I hadn't taken it. My body went rigid. I opened another file. This time it was a screenshot of my text messages with Lena. Not just the last few, but the entire thread, years back. Another file, scans of my ID, my bank statements, even private journal entries I'd kept in locked folders. My breath came shallow. Whoever was behind this had been watching me for longer than I could imagine. The phone rang suddenly, shattering the silence. Lena's name lit up the screen. "Ossia? Did you check the folder?" she asked without greeting. "Yes," I whispered. It's all about me. Photos, messages, documents." Her breathing quickened on the other end. "That means they're inside your system. Maybe even your apartment. You need to get out of there." Her words hung in the air, sharp and terrifying. I glanced around my living room as if I might find a hidden camera staring back at me. I spent the next hour unplugging everything, computer, router, even my phone charger, as if pulling the cords could erase the invasion. But the files stayed. The countdown kept ticking. That evening, another change appeared on the screen. Below the countdown, a second line appeared. "Don't involve anyone else." I stared at it, my stomach tightening. How did they know I'd spoken to Lena? Was the phone call being listened to? I closed the curtains, locked the doors, and sat in the dark, phone clutched in my hand. Every sound outside felt amplified, the elevator down the hall, footsteps above me, even the hum of the refrigerator. It wasn't just a threat anymore. This was personal. Someone wanted me isolated, cornered, afraid to trust anyone. As midnight crept closer, I realized the countdown wasn't the scariest part. It was the control, the way they seemed to anticipate my every move. And one thought refused to leave me. If they already knew I called Lena, what else could they see inside my life? The sunlight forced its way through the blinds, cutting sharp lines across the room. For the first time since the countdown began, I didn't shrink back from it. I pulled the curtains open wide, letting the brightness flood in. If someone was watching, let them see me clearly. I was done hiding. The computer waited on the desk like a sealed box I had no choice but to open. My fingers hovered over the power button. A deep breath. The machine hummed to life. The numbers returned instantly. 4 days, 11 hours. But there was something new. A folder had appeared on the desktop, its name simple and deliberate: Truth. My pulse quickened. I clicked. Inside were only 3 files. The first one opened to reveal a familiar document, my employment contract. At first, it looked ordinary, until I scrolled down. At the bottom, added in a different font, were private notes. Not a team player. Secretive. Colleagues expressed distrust. It felt like reading poison. Someone had been building a case to discredit me. The second file hit even harder. It was an email draft, written as if by me, addressed to Lena. The words were venomous, accusations that she was jealous, selfish, that I no longer wanted her in my life. My throat tightened. If this email was ever sent, it would destroy the one friendship I trusted. The timestamp in the corner chilled me, scheduled to be sent automatically the next day. I leaned back in the chair, my breath ragged. Whoever was behind this wasn't only threatening me, they were dismantling my life piece by piece, erasing trust, planting betrayal where none existed. The third file was different. When I opened it, a photo filled the screen. It was my brother Emre's ID. His face stared back at me, sharp eyes under the harsh light of an official document. Beneath it, a single line of text glowed. Your time belongs to me. The air left my lungs. My brother. Of course. Emre had always believed I abandoned him when I left our family home. He'd thrown those words at me the last time we spoke. One day, you'll pay for turning your back. I sat there, shaking, a storm of anger and grief swirling inside me. This countdown wasn't about killing me, it was about erasing me. Emre wanted control. He wanted me isolated, silenced, destroyed by fear before the clock ever hit 0. But for the first time in days, the fear began to recede. It was replaced by something stronger. I shut the laptop, the sound loud in the quiet apartment. My reflection stared back at me from the dark screen, not broken, not defeated. I reached for an external drive and began copying everything: the countdown, the files, the evidence. If Emre wanted me voiceless, I would speak louder than ever. I remembered Lena's voice, urgent on the phone. Don't face this alone. She was right. 4 days, I had let myself be trapped in his game. But Emre had underestimated me. He thought I would cower, fold, vanish into silence. He forgot who I had become. By afternoon, I walked out into the street, the hard drive in my bag and resolve in my chest. The city noise rushed around me, honking cars, hurried footsteps, the chatter of strangers. For the first time, the world felt like it was mine again, not his. The countdown might still be ticking somewhere, but it no longer owned me. I locked my door behind me and whispered into the sunlight. If Emre wants a war, then I'll be the one to finish it.